Hi everyone, this is Gary Wilson and welcome to tonight's live webinar for the Investor Agent Training Program. Again, as always, we have folks on here who've taken the Flipping for Profits program and the Buying Rental Profits Without the Pain program. So welcome aboard to all you guys. And by the way, anybody on here, once you're in the platform, you have a lot more privileges and rights and benefits and access. So if there's ever anything you want to learn more about, all you've got to do is just email or call. Email is probably best, just either Beverly or me, particularly Beverly, all right? And just tell her you want information on wholesaling, you want information on focusing on flips, you want information on focusing on buying rentals, you want information on focusing on managing rentals, whatever the case may be. There's information out there that's available to you for free. You don't have to pay for it. I mean, there's certainly paid information, but that's down the road. Right now, I want you just to get what you can get for free to see if you really want to dig into that particular subject, and then we'll take it to the next step from there. So just make sure you go visit the My Investment Services website periodically and see what's out there. You've got a lot of benefits, rights, and privileges as members already. So I would say take advantage of it. In any case, for all the new folks, welcome aboard. There should be some new folks on here from, Minneapolis, St. Paul area, New Jersey, just since July 4th. And we've got people from all over the country, literally California to Massachusetts and Toronto, all the way down to southern Florida, Miami. So welcome aboard. If you are new, the way this works is this. This is live. Everyone is muted by default by the system. I can unmute you at any time. If you want to, just shoot me a message in the question box. And the question box is how we initially communicate. You post questions on there. You provide feedback, even help provide answers to other students' questions. And if you want to be unmuted, just let me know. If you want me to share your screen, if you want me to share information on your screen, please let me know, because I can actually basically turn over the control of the screen to you. So, for example, I'm showing you a booklet right now from one of our students, and that's an awesome tool. I'm going to show you how he customized it for his own purpose. All right. And if you have one that you want to bring up in front of the group to critique, just let me know. Bring it up on your computer screen. I'll give you screen control, and we can look at your booklet or your letter, whatever it is you're wanting to do, get feedback on, and we'll bring it up to the group. Okay. So, in any case, welcome aboard for all the new folks. We are past the midway point of the year. I'm going through some marketing now. We went through all the marketing campaigns starting back late January and finished up late May, early June. Okay, and what we've been doing since June is responding to your requests to discuss a particular subject. And this is one that's been coming up a lot lately, and that is the booklet. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Okay, so I'm going to reduce my screen, guys. So I'm not going to be able to see your questions here for a moment. But let me just double check real quick, just to make sure we are all okay. Okay, so all the questions are caught up. All right, I'm going to reduce my screen, and we're going to get into the content for tonight. First things first, this is a booklet, and you can see it starts off with the statement where the smart money is. If you sat in the class that I teach for free, everybody saw this getting passed around the room. It was my original prototype, the original version. This one is a cleaned up version, and it happens to be from, it's not really Boston, it's north of Boston. It's up in just over the state line in New Hampshire, from one of our students, Dave Gambasini, and he shared with us probably, I'm not sure how long ago it was, probably close to a year ago, and he got immediate results from this booklet. Okay, in fact, he didn't even send out 25. I think he said he sent 21 or something, maybe 23, and got 3 calls right out of the gate. And remember, the reason we like the booklet, guys, over and above any other type of mail campaign, direct mail campaign, that would be postcards, pamphlets, brochures, bifolds, trifolds. The reason we like the booklet so much is, or one of the reasons I should say it, when someone calls you after they've received the booklet, we generally do not call that person a lead. We refer to that person as a prospect, because between timing, motivation, readiness, willingness, ability, they've demonstrated at least motivation and willingness, and you've got to determine timing and ability. In other words, financial ability. Can they actually buy something? They've probably already demonstrated readiness too, for that matter, but that remains to be seen once you've qualified the prospect. So the bottom line is, these aren't cold leads, guys. These are warmed up prospects. Warmed up because you're not just talking, you're not just telling them what you can do and they can benefit from. You're actually showing them, you're demonstrating, you're actually doing what you would be talking about. So instead of saying you can buy a duplex, you can make money in real estate, you actually show them examples. Okay, you give them tools and information that they can use, and you create a story for each example, each piece of inventory that you give them, to further explain and demonstrate. Remember, not just talk, but demonstrate why this is such a powerful vehicle for building wealth and income. Okay, all right. So enough said. That's kind of the big why. And by the way, if you're relatively new to the business, this is probably one of the first things you should do, because it's really, really easy. It's very inexpensive. Most offices now have the binder. It's just a mechanical device where you stick in your papers and it creates the binder for you. I think I've only seen 2 offices since January 1 that don't have one. And in both offices, some of the agents did already own their own. You can get them at Office Max, by the way, or Staples for about $80. Okay, I recommend getting a more industrial strength version. Usually costs between $200 and $250, maybe $230. But at that point, those are the ones the offices are buying. They're relatively cheap. Ownership probably should be buying it instead of individual agents. If you don't have one in your office, I suggest you speak up. Go to your next ALC meeting and say, I think we should have a binding machine, and tell them. You can even research and get the cost for them. Bring it. Be prepared, because it'll benefit everybody, including the market center. So in any case, let's go back to this booklet here, where the smart money is. And as you notice, just like we teach you, you provide a nice picture of your area. Okay, this is I love this picture because it shows, industrial, possibly some manufacturing, but more importantly, it shows a landscape. It shows water, so it's an appealing picture in a lot of ways. And think about this. Think about the psychology behind the picture. All right, what does this message convey? It conveys business. It conveys commerce. It conveys, somebody's conducting business here in a large way, and you've got a beautiful landscape to back it up. So what better picture to put somebody in a good mood to want to build wealth and income, right? So you do that, and then you give them the answer right here, where the smart money is. Remember, it's not a question, it's a statement. The reader is going to create the question in their mind. It's called framing. They're going to frame the question themselves as they read this statement. Look at the picture. Where's the smart money? Where is this? And then you're going to tell them, right here, investing in New Hampshire real estate, okay, or Minneapolis real estate, or Chicago real estate, or Bloomington, or Peoria, or Ocean City, New Jersey, or Northfield, New Jersey. All right. Okay. Then you've got to provide there's a few things you got to provide. You have to provide, if you have a team name, and a lot of you folks who are in KW, you build a brand around yourself. That's one of the things we have you do, is we help you build a business around yourself. In this case, it's DG Realty Advisors, Dave Gambasini Realty Advisors. He literally just took my cue. My company's name before the merger was Win Realty Advisors. And we've had a lot of people around North America, U.S. and Canada, just clone that, okay, and call it, Greater Toronto Realty Advisors. Rhonda, Redlands, here you go, Rhonda, Redlands Realty Advisors. How about that one, okay? Doesn't cost you a dime either. In any case, then you provide your contact information. Always email and phone number, okay? Of course, your name. And if you have a website, you want to put that on there too. And I highly recommend, in addition to your KW websites that you get, I'm assuming most of you are KW people here, you get 2 websites right out of the gate. You can take one of them and customize it, or you can create a third one on your own very, very inexpensively. and have it tied back to your main website or sites, okay? And then you provide your broker's information. You've always got to disclose broker name, address, all that information there, okay? All right, so everybody clear on this? Cover page, all right? Information page, contact information, disclosure of your broker, all right? Then we're going to get into the letter. Now let me do a quick check here on questions. Make sure everybody's okay. I mean, so far we've just on the cover page, and it's pretty straightforward. And so, Rhonda, did you like the suggestion on Redlands Realty Advisors? You can really differentiate yourself by doing something like that. Okay, let's look at the letter here. All right. Oops, hang on. This is Rhonda says yes. And somebody, would it be okay to just have an investors button on my website? Yes, you can do that. You can certainly do that, Rhonda. You know, what will happen eventually, Rhonda, is you're going to have different marketing for your different groups on your database. You're going to be segmenting your database. You know, first-time home buyers, emerging retirees, you know, flippers, landlords. You're going to be segmenting your database, and the more you segment, the more powerful your marketing becomes, because your message is going to be more precise and match your individual markets. Does that make sense? So let me repeat that for everybody. There's a concept in business marketing. It's a triangle: message, market, media. Okay, the message is what you're trying to convey to the recipient, to the reader. You're usually trying to get them to take some action. We call that a call to action. The market is who you're providing that to. Okay, that's your orthodontists who invest, for example. Your financial planners who invest or work with, who have clients who invest in real estate. Okay, that's your market. The media is the vehicle that you use to communicate with them. Texting, email, phone, Facebook, blogging, podcast. I mean, it just goes on and on. Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it. Okay. All of those are mediums, and that is important because you'll find that some media is more appropriate for some markets. In other words, there's some markets you would not use certain media for. Other markets you would definitely use certain media for. The message, so what I was getting to earlier is, the more tightly you define your market, the more accurate and the more meaningful and the more effective your messaging can be. And I don't want you to worry right now about how do you come up with really good messaging, or what we call copy. Okay, the more tightly you define your market, your copy will come naturally to you. Just trust me on that. You'll find yourself coming up with the right words, with key phrases and verbiage, tag words that the people in your market will resonate with. So orthodontists will resonate with certain terminology. Okay, engineers will resonate with certain terminology. That will come over time. It'll come naturally. There's no way to actually just learn that other than just doing it. Okay. So in any case, I wanted to focus on that for just a second. Let's get back to Dave's letter. This is his message, and the market is. We'll find out what that is in a second. And his media is his booklet. Okay, the booklet's the media. Targeting his market is investors, and this is his message. So he just starts off telling people the purpose of the letter. Now, Dave and I talked about this. I thought he could probably trim it down a little bit. He went ahead and went with this, and it worked. He got first batch. He got 3 calls right out of the gate, like immediately. All right. So we decided not to mess with it after that. Any case, tells about the concept, the where. Okay, geographically. Always remember this, guys. I want you to write this down. You want to make sure you cover 5 things in your introductory letter, in your booklets, okay? And that's the who, what, where, when, how. And you can even put a 6th one in, which is why, okay? Who, where, when, how, why. So write that down, and as you craft a letter, make sure that you've addressed all of those: who, what, where, when, how, and why. If you give him your big why, that resonates with certain people. Some people don't care about that. They're real high Ds or DCs or CDs on a disc profile. That's not going to appeal to them as much as it will the S's and and eyes. I like to put that kind of stuff in my material because I want people to know, I want people to feel connected to me as a human being, because that's how I operate. I tend to look for character and attitude and behavior before I look for skills and aptitude. Okay. So in any case, you can't go wrong with having that in there, I guess is what I'm saying. So back to today's letter. I'm not going to read it word for word. You guys can read this on your own, or if you want to do a screen print or screenshot, excuse me. But also remember, you're going to get the recording tomorrow, so you'll have it again. You can slow it down and replay it and take screenshots and so forth. In any case, it talks about developing relationships, okay, with several other doctors in the area, all right, and they were tired of feeling like they were a target for stockbrokers, financial planners. He's telling them to hang in there, okay, because there's another way to invest, and that happens to be real estate. And he talks about some of the people he's helped: chiropractors, dentists, doctors, engineers, teachers, many others from the results of investing in New Hampshire real estate. All right, talks about the principles, basically what his big picture, the mission of Dave Gambasini Realty Advisors is. All right, talks about his history. So far he's got the who, the what, the where. All right, and he's going to get into some how and a little bit more information here in a little bit. All right. Any case, back to this. He talks about his extensive network of national, international investors looking to invest in the area, and everybody has that anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. We've got investors coming from all over the place now. Talks about a buyer's network, and dealing directly with the buyer, goals to provide investment exit strategies. So in other words, it's not just he's conveying the message that he's not just a typical realtor. He's actually providing a worthwhile, meaningful service that these folks will benefit for. This is the what's in it for them. Okay. So in any case, then he gives them his offer. If you're, I think a little bit soft, but again, it works. So we didn't want to mess with it. If you ever consider investing in real estate and not been able to don't have the time, give me a call and I'll help you out. All right. What I would do here is I would say, if you're uncertain, if you don't even know where to start, please give me a call or email me or visit this web page, and you want to put a link on here, a web page link, where they can fill out basic information about themselves and you can offer them a free consultation. Okay. So you can do something like that in your letter. All right. So in any case, there's his contact information. All right. That's the letter. Then he's telling them what he's going to do. All right. He's going to put in a recent article, and actually he just took the article I wrote and I provide to all of you for free, and he put it in there. So that's why I want to tell people, if you've never bought an investment property yourself, don't sweat it. Just use this. I wrote it in a style of an article, so it's not like you're claiming responsibility for this particular investment. You're just taking an article that was written in a way that would appeal to people who have an interest in investing but maybe haven't done it yet. Okay, and then he's going to give some examples of properties. So you've all seen this article. I've done what the stock market should have bought a duplex instead. Still very timely. I give him right out of the gate. I give him some basic definitions. Okay, cap rate, net operating income, debt service, cash on cash return. All right. Then I dig right in. I jump right in to give an example of a property I bought years ago. I give him the pro forma when I bought it. Okay, all the details. And the reason this is important, guys, is you don't want to just tell people, hey, you can make a lot of money buying investment real estate. Actually show them. So this is the initial purchase of a property. All right. Then I show them the pro forma on when I sold it, so they can see before and after. And I think the holding period was something like 10 years. I can't remember exactly. 10 or 11 years, 10, 12 years. And you can see when I first bought it, the cap rate, cash on cash return. All right. And you can see when I sold it, cash on cash return and cap rate. This is what the investors are looking for. And then I give them the story. Okay. Let's discuss this for a moment. So remember, this is critical. Again, if you guys want to use mine, just use it. Apparently it works for people. but I don't just give them like a narrative. I actually break it down in a bullet format, because this way you're resonating with multiple personality types. Okay. Okay. Then I get into what it really means. Real estate investing is not very glamorous, et cetera, et cetera. Then I give him my final prayer, if you will, what it's meant for me, and I give him one more example of another person. And this lady actually, we became friends. So I thought she was. I just thought it was awesome that she never finished high school. She accumulated more than 100 units in 15 years, and she owned them all outright. She had no debt. So just amazing, most amazing story. So in any case, by the way, if you guys ever want to meet her, just let me know. I'll be glad to make an introduction. So that's the letter. Okay, now we're going to get into samples of properties. If I can, here it is. That's the first one. All right, so this is in Manchester. Manchester is in New Hampshire, for those of you who've never been there. Beautiful part of the country. So what Dave did is he took some properties out of the MLS. All right, some are active. Maybe these are all active. I'm not sure. But remember, in your booklet, you can put active, you can put sold, you can put pending. The bottom line is the booklet is not intended to sell any specific property. It's intended to to establish a relationship, to establish a beachhead with a prospective new prospect. Okay, that's why we call them prospect or prospective. So in any case, now Dave gets into the terminology again right here. All right, net operating income, cash on cash return, debt service, cash, cap rate. Excuse me. All right, and he gets into the evaluation. So he's taking the numbers from the listing, all right? And by the way, I want you to write this down. I'm sure you've noticed not all listings have a lot of information. Some do and some don't. If you come across a property that you think has promise and it looks appealing, you should call or email the listing agent and say, I do have clients who are interested. However, they want to see at least a pro forma based on actual numbers. A lot of times the listing agent will make that an attachment to the limits, the MLS listing that you can download. You can download the attachment that'll have something just like this. Okay, and if they don't have it in this format, you can create this format. This format is actually based on the IRS form Schedule E, which is what the IRS uses for people to file information on small rental properties. Okay, in fact, you can get it for free if you use QuickBooks. It's the same format on QuickBooks. There's a format there you use. So in any case, back to the booklet. So Dave breaks it down in pro forma format. The purchase price, down payment, debt service. Then he gets into the actual income on the property, the expenses on the property, the cash on cash return, and the cap rate. And if you notice, he does that for a number of properties. That was a very inexpensive property, and I'll show you one here in a second that's a little bit pricier. So for everybody who's on the call who thinks, well, I live in Dayton, Ohio, all my properties are $70,000, or I live in Redlands, California. You can't get a duplex or triplex for less than $500,000. Well, here's another example of a more expensive property. In fact, it's $550,000. The bottom line is this, guys, is you'll probably notice that it doesn't matter where you live. If you've got rentals, you've got investors. It's just a natural phenomenon. And ironically, one of the states where people, I hear this comment the most, you can't invest there, it's too expensive. Well, guess what? Of all 50 states, California has one of the highest tenancy rates in North America between all the states and provinces. 40% of California are renters. 40%. It's much higher. It's a good bit higher than the national average, which is around 1/3. There are certain cities that are much higher. Of course, Philadelphia is much higher. It's 56% rentals. But the bottom line is, it doesn't matter where you are. If people rent, that means people invest, and you should be working with them. So let's look at this one, for example, $550,000, a little bit less than a 20% down payment. You get your debt service, $2,400 a month. You got your income, $6,800 a month. Taxes, insurance, water, sewer, utilities, You get your net operating income, $60,000 per year, pretty juicy. All right, so your cash return is $32,000 a year. Cash on cash rate 32%, not bad, and cap rate 11%. This is a boy. I mean, this is the kind of thing you actually want to buy, guys, because it's probably a decent property for $550,000. Let's see if there's a picture here. Kind of hard to tell, but I'd say that's a decent property. In any case, so I didn't want to dig into the properties too much here. I just want to give you an example of what you should be putting into your booklets, and that's exactly what Dave did. Here's another one. You know, a much lower price one like the first one, and then he's got another one that's pricier like the last one, close to $400,000. So he's mixing it up because you never know who's going to be on the other end of this, who's going to be on the receiving end of this. Okay, and that's pretty much his booklet. I know that he wraps things up here at the end. Actually, there's another property. I'm sorry. I thought that was it. Should be one or two more. And I'm going to then take a quick pause, let you guys catch up. I'll check for questions. And then we're going to dig into some of the mechanics of how you identify the specific groups of people that you will send this to. Okay? Not just who they are, but how you find them. We're going to use specific tools. So, in any case, I think we're pretty close to the end of today's booklet here. And there you have it. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything yet. Okay. Gives one quick brief wrap up on the area and why it's a good idea, what's in it for you, why you should be doing this. Okay. And here you go. He's making his offer. Please take your first step. Call today. There's no obligations. Information, knowledge are free. So again, I would make a more stronger offer, but in this case, it worked, guys. You know, 3 calls out of 21 booklets. What is that? So 1 out of 7. That's about a 15% callback rate. That is awesome on a mail campaign. Okay, that's why we like this booklet. It far outperforms almost any other form of a mailing. Okay, and remember, it's not just the percentage of return, the return rate, return call rate. It's the quality of the call. You're getting prospects, not just cold leads. Okay, so let me do a quick pause here, bring my panel back over, and look for questions. And I'll give you guys a second to get those in, and then we'll dig into some tools you can use. Okay, let's see here. We got a lot of them. Hang on one second. Okay, this is hey Hans. Hey, Hans is brand new. Welcome aboard, Hans. Hans, will the modules that we have access give us a better understanding of what these numbers mean so that if an investor asks us questions, we can qualify our statements? Absolutely. So module 2, Hans, is going to give you the mechanics of investing, which is your, you know, the cash flow sheets. We actually show you how to determine cash flow using the formula. We walk you through the formula, and we give you examples. And we do that for at least 3 different calculators on rentals. And then we also do that for flips, because the formula for a flip is obviously different than a formula for a rental. So look at that in module 2, Hans. I don't know if you got your module 2 yet, because you just started last week. You'll get it. Well, whenever you open up module 1, 7 days later, you'll be granted access to module 2, and then you'll have all this information. Good question, by the way. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Kent, doggone it. Looks like the lines are still there. All right, let me switch panels here. Let me switch screens. Maybe that'll help. I don't know how it will, because, you know, unless somehow GoToWebinar recognizes that. I don't know how they would, but okay, let me reduce this and go over here. Let's go do this. I'm going to start, let's start with Yellow Pages, all right? This is the Yellow Pages from, I believe, Minneapolis, if I'm not mistaken. And actually, it's not coming up. Hang on one second. Let's go. Let me hit the Enter key. Hang on one second. It's thinking. So while it's doing its thinking, what I'm going to show you guys is, I want you to write this down. Here's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you Yellow Pages. I'm going to show you a Chamber of Commerce website. I think that's for Redlands, California, Rhonda. I'm going to show you a trade organization at 3 different levels, a local level, a state level, and a city level. I think it might even be maybe even a regional level. And I wonder if I got too many sessions going on here. Hang on one second. Let me close some of this stuff out. This thing's taking forever. Let's close this. And that should end that right there. Let's go back here now. This should be any of these sessions are live here. Let's close this one out because we don't need that. And let's check for the directory. Okay. All right. Here's Redlands Chamber of Commerce, guys. And all I did is I just Googled Redlands Chamber of Commerce and went to the homepage first. I'm not going to go there because it's pretty obvious what a homepage is. But I looked under directory, and the good news is with these Chamber of Commerces, and by the way, Chamber of Commerce exists typically at the local level, okay, at the state level, and believe it or not, there actually is a national Chamber of Commerce, okay. In our case, is because real estate is a locality business. You want to go to the local level. So this is Redlands Chamber of Commerce. So Rhonda, check this out. I know accountants is not one of the top 7 groups, people to work with for investing, but they do work. I've worked with accountants, and they do invest, okay. But let's go down here. You can see you've got HVAC people here, all right. Hang on one second. You've got architects. You've got, let's see here, there's all kinds of associate workers, attorneys. I didn't do so well with attorneys. Let me just put it that way. Automobile dealers, by the way, that's another good group. People who own businesses, who own dealerships, top salesmen like to invest in real estate. You got a lot of business owners here. I've had churches as clients. Matter of fact, guys, we've had 6 ministers go through the training program. Let's see, there's general contractors, there's bankers, dentists. So there is, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dentists. Then you've got 1, 2, 3 orthodontists. So now, Rhonda, if you look in a phone book, obviously you're going to get a lot more, dentists and orthodontists there. Okay, I remember looking at that at Redlands, and you're okay as far as that goes. But financial advisors, great people to partner with. I've got a number of financial advisors that were clients of mine. But in any case, bottom line is, guys, you can see the list goes on and on and on. All right, and what you should be doing is this is my instruction for you for tonight, particularly if you're new. Okay, if you're new to the business and you're not sure what particular niche you should be going after, or if you find yourself out there exerting a lot of energy and you're trying to approach multiple groups of people, I suggest you look at this list in your local Chamber of Commerce and look and see if you see any type of a business owner that looks like something you'd be interested in. It appeals to you. You're passionate about it. Maybe you're an amateur jeweler. Maybe you used to own a landscaping company. Whatever the case is, look at these different categories. I mean, you can do the same thing by looking in a phone book. But look at the different categories, okay? And find something that you are aligned with and focus on that group. Printers, or small business owners. Look at that, Redlands Blueprint Company, Redlands Print and Shop Company. I would approach these folks. And look, obviously there's a lot of real estate people here. But I'm willing to bet you'd be the only one that focuses on investing, unless you're a commercial. Here's one, core commercial. There's commercial guys there. Restaurant owners, tough way to make a living, but a lot of people do it, obviously. So in any case, let me do this. I'm going to drop this screen because maybe that'll help. But that's an example of a Chamber of Commerce, all right? Matter of fact, let me just take that all the way back up to the top. And let's see if About Us, directory members, that's where we're at right now, calendar of events. You can look and see when they have events coming up, e-flyers, of course, their homepage. So let's go ahead and reduce that because we don't need to look at that anymore. Unless, Rhonda, if you have any questions, matter of fact, let me do this. Let me bring my panel back over and see if there's any questions on that. You're an amateur jeweler. Hot dog. Let's see here. Do you have to join a chamber to get this directory? No, that was, let's see, who was that? Rhonda, that was free, okay? You can join the chamber. You certainly can. Anybody can. But that directory is free. You don't need to pay for that, okay? Okay, so let me reduce my panel again here. Hang on 1 second. Drop that panel, and let's see. I want to find another session that's not going to make me wait. I don't know why all these are, I had all these live before the webinar started. And I don't know if I lost the connection temporarily, but you guys are all still on, so that's good news. And I'll describe these to you as I go through them, okay? I may have to kill these sessions and start them all over again. I'm not sure why all of them are doing this. Okay, let's do this. Let me type in New Jersey. Whoops, I don't want to do that. Come on, computer. Okay. New Jersey Association of Orthodontists. Okay. And we should get a pop-up there. What I was going to show you guys is I chose orthodontist tonight for the example, for the model. And the reason is they're a great group of people to work with. And what I wanted to show you is they have annual events, okay, on a national scale. They also have regional events and even local events. And at the bigger events, one of the interesting things is you can be a vendor, okay? You don't have to be directly related to the business of dentistry or orthodontist. In fact, I'm going to give you an example. One of my colleagues years ago decided to focus solely on chiropractors. That's all he did, is he served chiropractors exclusively. And if you're guessing, it wasn't me, okay? But he actually went as far as joining their organization. He was a vendor. He joined as a vendor, and he would go to the trade organization events. Okay, they have national events, again, regional events, state events, so forth and so on. And he would set up a booth. Okay, and what happened is eventually, he got to the point where he wasn't in the booth. He had people sitting in the booth for him, and he would go attend the sessions. Okay, and he would mingle and network with all the orthodontists, all the chiropractors. It got to the point where he learned the language, he learned the terminology, the lingo, the dialogue, and he was getting invited to play golf, to go on golfing trips. Okay, he got invited to people's weddings. The bottom line is they started to treat him as if he was one of their own. Okay, in fact, he even told me one time, he said, a lot of those guys, Gary, he said, the amazing thing is I've been around so long, they just assume I'm a chiropractor, and he's not. He was providing services. So here's what I'm getting at. I don't know why these sessions are spinning and spinning and spinning like that. Maybe I should kill a couple of them and see if that'll free up some CPUs. I've never had this problem before, but in any case, here's what I'm getting at. Okay, you might wonder, why would you join a national organization when you service only, say, the Minneapolis area? Okay, well, the answer is this: you definitely want to directly serve the orthodontists in your area, or in this case, chiropractors in your area, whatever the situation is. Okay, but once you become familiar with that group and you learn the language, you learn the terminology, okay, and you become friends with these folks, right? They're going to have local events. You want to make sure you're invited to those events, because even though you'll get referrals from these folks, there's no better way to drum up business than in person. I don't care what happens in the world of technology, the internet, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. All that does is get you an initial contact. You still have to develop the relationship. So what I'm getting at here is that, let's say you go to a local trade event for orthodontists, okay? if you generally at that point you will have already serviced at least one orthodontist. You've got them in their property. Now, not only do you have a testimonial, you've got live referral stuff going on. You're shaking hands, you're meeting people, and they're saying, hey, you should use Kent. Kent knows what the heck he's doing. He not only invests himself, he has all the tools, information he's willing to share with you. Okay. Any case, you can become a member. You can register to become a vendor. You can go to all their events. You can also advertise in your publications. And what I really want you to think about is, and I want you to Google this. Just Google National Association of Orthodontists, and you'll see that there was an annual event in Orlando, Florida this past year. So if you're in Orlando and you're anywhere around Orlando and you're on the call here tonight, we've got a couple dozen students in Orlando. Look for the next event. They actually give you the schedule of upcoming events for the next year and also the upcoming years. And go ahead and join, okay? But also advertise in their trade publications. And what I want you to pay attention to is when you look online and look at the book for their event. It's going to give you the event guide. Look at the sponsors and the vendors, and you'd be amazed that in the case of orthodontists, they're not all just related to your teeth. Okay, there's financial planners in there, there's lawyers in there, there's accountants in there. Okay, but there's one group of people that I routinely see that's not there, and it's you. You don't want to advertise yourself as a traditional realtor. What you want to do is you want to advertise yourself as the investment real estate and investment advisor. Okay, so everybody somewhere in your tagline, you should have something in there about being a real estate investment advisor. All right, and when you have a booth and you're on their event guide, has all your contact information, and you tell them specifically, you hit a pain point. Hey, do you trust the stock market or do you not trust the stock market? Have you been burned in the stock market before? Here's a great alternative. Real estate doesn't go anywhere. Once a property is built, it stays. I mean, unless of course it burns to the ground or something. But essentially, you appeal to a pain point or a pleasure point, and that's what's going to get you business. And I promise you, if you use his name's Dan, by the way, that did that. He just focused on the one group of people. That's all he did. Made a whole career out of it. Okay, but here's what I was getting to a moment ago. Start with your local group. Once you've perfected your game, you're up and running. You can now go with those guys to the state events, the regional events, and the national events. Set yourself up, and because we have investor agents literally coast to coast now, and remember we also have the investor agent community site. You can find out who the investor agents are all over the country in Canada, U.S. and Canada, soon to be England, by the way, and refer business to them. You could drum up referral business like crazy. And getting referrals doesn't happen on a local level. Referrals fly all over the place. So once you have dentists or orthodontists or chiropractors up and running in Bloomington, Illinois, for example, if you're one of you folks that's on the line here tonight, go ahead and move up to the next level. Get some referrals going. Because guys, that's partly how I make my money. I have referrals I send out literally coast to coast on a regular basis, and I'm not in all those places, but I have a presence in all those places. Okay, I've in a number of ways, but you can accomplish the same thing by going to their event. Okay, making yourself well known, and I'm willing to bet you my next commission check. If you look at the National Association of Orthodontists and look at their annual event in Orlando, I'm willing to bet you my next commission there was not one real estate investment advisor out of that vendor group. You had financial planners, lawyers, accountants, and so forth and so on. All right. You can basically corner the market, and you can start getting referrals from those orthodontists nationally asking you, hey, I want to do this. Who do I use? My friend Bob in Illinois said you're the go-to guy. Can you help me in Redlands, California? And you should say yes. I have a colleague out there named Rhonda. We're in the same group ourselves, investor agents, and she's educated and informed and can help you invest in Redlands, California. So what I'm getting at is you get referrals coming through this thing to and from. all right? And it'll be a substantial amount of income if you do it correctly. Any case, a couple more things here, guys. I have no idea why this, I mean, obviously the webinars is alive and well. I've got the internet connection here. But these other sessions are just churning away here. So let's go back to the questions here real quick. Hang on one second. Let's see. I think we're all caught up on the questions. If you guys have questions, shoot them to me. Okay, it looks like one just came in here. Hang on one second. Okay, this is from Hans. Let me make sure Rhonda's, yeah, Rhonda's okay. When using this approach to start, should you solely focus on that particular group, or do you recommend testing what works well in an area? So Hans, what I would do is you definitely want to focus on a group of people. And what I want to do, Hans, is when you're, maybe not this week, maybe whenever you're ready, next week, the week after, I suggest you wait till Module 4. Call me up so we can have your strategy call, and we're going to help you determine what your particular niche is. It may be, photographers who invest. It may be, musicians or writers, whatever the reporters, whatever the case is. We'll help you find your niche, discover your niche, what that is to say, and figure out how do you basically message to that market and what media to use, all right? I like focusing on one particular group of people initially because the concept of learning small and then growing big is vital in this business, because you can, your time is more valuable than your money, and your energy is, that for that matter too. So if you learn small, if you focus on one particular group of people, you'll master the skills. And unlike Dan, you can branch out and serve other groups if you want. I suggest you build teams at that point. You can have your team that focuses on orthodontists, have your team focused on chiropractors, have your team focused on ceramic engineers, whatever the case is. At one point I had 11 teams, but initially just start with one. So I've tried to beat that dead horse there, but that's a good question. And it's critical that you do start small. I know it takes patience, but I promise you, it's easier to master this on a small scale. And when you have missed opportunities and mistakes and errors, they're not nearly as painful on a small scale. And then once you've mastered it, then you can move up and expand your scope. Okay. Any case, let me go over some other things here, guys. I don't think these panels are coming back, but that's okay. We're live, and I want you to write this information down. I want you to look at your local BNI group. B is in boy, N is in Nancy, I is in Indiana. BNI. They're all over the place. They're international, and they're pretty particular. They only let so many people in per group typically. And what you want to do is find a group that you can join, and you've got your own niche. You're not a traditional real estate agent. You're not a commercial agent. You're an investor agent. Okay, so you've got a niche you can carve out. And in that group, you'll likely have complementary industries represented. An accountant, a lawyer, whatever. An engineer, you name an architect, a builder. Okay, and what you want to do is find out if any of them would like to invest, or if they're already investing, give you a shot, because that's part of being in a BNI group is you kind of agree that you'll work with each other. Okay, then you get a testimonial, and then you can offer your services to the other members of that particular person's industry. So in the case of an accountant, once they're up and running, they got the first property. Now you've got a testimonial, and you've got an in with that group of people. Okay. So in any case, that's called a BNI group. They're relatively inexpensive to join. Sometimes you can't get in on one because they're already they've got too many people as it is. But look for one that's just starting up. They start up all the time. There's multiple BNI groups in every field in every city. So you should be able to find one, and if you can't, then start your own. Okay? So those are BNI groups. I want you to remember that. Very powerful stuff. They usually meet once a month, maybe twice a month, usually early in the morning when people can meet. Okay? All right. The next thing I wanted to go over with you is we talked about trade organizations related to these groups like New Jersey Association of Orthodontists, There's a Southern Association of Orthodontists based out of Atlanta that's regional, and there's the city levels, and there's also the national level. Well, there's a trade organization, obviously, that goes along with that, and I suggest you look into joining it. Again, not necessarily right away. If you can join at the local level, by all means do that. Okay, sign up as at least as a vendor in the beginning. Okay, so you can offer your services to them, and what that does for you, it gives you certain benefits, right? You get access to those people. Okay, and because you're in their system, you're more readily recognized as a trusted advisor. Okay, so that's important to remember. Joining a trade organization gives you a leg up on competition who's not joining an organization, trade organization, in the way of earning that know you, like you, trust you. In other words, you're seen and viewed as a trusted advisor. Okay. All right. Well, one more thing. This is a slight twist. We got this from the workshop technique. When you put on workshops, one of the things we have you do is set up your own Meetup group. Okay. Well, guess what? You can actually do that with the same group of people for whom you're providing this booklet. Okay. So let's say you focus on orthodontists. What you would do then is create let's say some of you folks are here on the line from Northfield, New Jersey, which is right outside Atlantic City. Call it the Northfield, New Jersey Investors Forum for Orthodontists. Okay, and then when you build out your Meetup group, your keywords and key phrases are going to have terms like orthodontist, rental, flip, landlord, anything that you can think of that had to do with investing and or orthodontics. Okay, and what will happen is Meetup will go out to all the other groups in the area that have keywords or key phrases that match yours and notify those people of your pending event. So in this case here, you're not going to have an event right now. You're just going to create a Meetup group for orthodontists who want to invest. Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think orthodontists who want to invest would be interested in commingling with other orthodontists who want to invest? Okay, I think the answer is yes. In fact, we know it is because we demonstrate this repeatedly with our workshops. We call it niching or affinity groups. So in any case, initially what you're doing is you're doing this to match your target audience, your market for your booklet. Okay, that's what I'm getting back to here. So we're kind of commingling techniques here to help beef up your numbers and enhance your strategy. And then down the road, you can start a live workshop. Okay, just have a once a month meeting. These guys are going to be pretty busy, so once a month is about their appetite. They get to see each other. They start shaking hands. They start doing joint ventures. If one orthodontist can buy a 4-plex, another orthodontist can buy an 8-plex. Together, maybe they can buy a 20-plex. And guess who gets the commission? That's right, you do. Okay, you get the commission. So, in any case, what I'm getting at is you can commingle these strategies. Start your Meetup group once you've developed your niche and you're using a booklet, because eventually you'll have what you have in place, what you need to have in place to do your workshop. Okay, so one's going to lead you to be more effective with the next. One technique is going to actually build you up for the next technique. So, in any case, that's what I wanted to cover tonight, guys. Let me check here for questions. Let's see, what do we have here? That was Hans. Thanks for that question, Hans. This is Rhonda. Okay, you don't feel that attorneys are a good group. The reason I ask is because I work with an attorney, I work for attorney for many years, and I'm very comfortable with him. Yeah, Rhonda, I tell you what. Don't let me dissuade you with my comments. If that's a group of people you're comfortable with, work with them, because that's one of the criteria that we give you when you're forming your niche group. Is who do you feel comfortable with? Who do you have an affinity with? Or who do you feel aligned with? And in this case, if it's attorneys, by all means, service them. I know a number of attorneys who invested. I know attorneys who own 50 or more buildings. It's just been my experience that they tend to want to be more independent because in every state in the U.S. I don't remember if this is true in Canada. So if Lana, you're on, I have to look this up. I'm not sure, but by default, attorneys do not have to go take any type of real estate classes to practice real estate. They just simply have to pass the exam. Okay, that's all they've got to do. So it's like by default they can be brokers. And so what we saw that a lot. And what they would do is they get their broker's license, and they would be their own agent because they don't have to take any classes. But again, back to my original statement, plenty of attorneys invest in real estate. In fact, a lot of them do. And I think you should. I suggest you work after that niche, Rhonda, if you have an understanding of them, their language or terminology, their behavior, and you feel comfortable with them. Absolutely, I would serve that niche. Okay, let me see here. I think there was one more question from Rhonda. Let's see. But I don't want to pursue them if you don't feel there would be that good. Okay. Now that I've just given you my preaching moment. I tell you what, Rhonda, I would just try it. If you know one or two or three attorneys, you know what? Give them a call. Go visit them in person. Create a booklet first. Okay. Create a booklet just like the one we showed you here. Heck, I hope I can find it now. Where did I put it? Let's go back up here. Come on, computer. I'm looking for DG. Let's find DG. I'll bring it back up, Rhonda. But what I'm getting at is create your booklet first. Okay. Absolutely create your booklet first, and then you'll have something to show them. Okay. I must have put it in a separate folder. Okay, I'm not seeing it here. All right, back to the panel. So create a booklet, Rhonda, and then you can approach the attorneys. If you can get one or two under contract, they become basically your testimonials. All right, and you can create a booklet that can be used for all the other attorneys. So hopefully that helps you. Let me check for more questions, and I think that is it, guys. Okay. Awesome session tonight. I hope you guys now feel a whole lot better about using the booklet, how to create it, who you should be working with, how you identify them and how you find them, and how you can take it to the next level by using Chamber of Commerce, using your local BNI group, using the local trade organization, eventually work your way up to the state level and then a national level. Again, sometimes there's a regional level. Also, creating your own Meetup group, because that's going to help you. Further define your group in the community atmosphere among, in this case, the orthodontists we use as the example tonight. But also, it's going to position you to be able to do your own workshop, your monthly meetings. Okay. Of course, and again, we did mention the BNI groups. Okay, by the way, one more thing. I mentioned in the beginning the fact that everybody has access here to all the other information online, all the tools, all the information, whether it's free or paid. We did just roll out turning rental problems into real estate profits. That's all about managing rental properties for profit without suffering all the mistakes and errors and mishaps. And if that interests you, the reason I'm bringing that up is that seems to be a hot topic lately too. People asking about property management. I've even had OPs and team leaders ask me about property management, and we want to help you guys pursue that. So the information's out there. Just get every book we have, by the way, you don't have to pay for the books. You get those for free. All right. The training programs you get for half price, but the books you get for free. So just get the free book on whatever subject you want. Just go to the website and look them up, and you'll find them there. So, and if you have any questions on those subjects, obviously let Beverly or I know, and we'll help you out. So, okay, guys, I appreciate you being on tonight, and appreciate the participation. And you're very welcome. Thanks for the kudos, guys. Thanks, Hans, for saying that. I appreciate it. And Hans, don't forget, once you feel like you've got your niche in what particular path you want to take as far as marketing, just look me up. Let's get together, do your strategy call, and we will get you rocking and rolling. Okay, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, a beautiful weekend. I will see you next week, and next week's webinar is going to be Wednesday night. I will be in Hoboken, New Jersey. And I'll look for subjects. If you have something you want to discuss particularly, please put it in an email, and I'll get prepared for that webinar for that particular subject. Okay, guys, have a great night, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.